As the pandemic drags on, people in Saskatchewan are feeling the pinch of supply chain issues. We've seen bare shelves and produce shortages, but it's not everywhere, and it's not all the time. For a better idea of what's going on, we've reached David Karwacki. David is the CEO of Star Produce in Saskatoon. Thanks for being here.
Great to be with you.
David, a lot of attention has been put on truck drivers and hauling companies for supply chain issues, but from your perspective, what is going on?
Well, the entire supply chain has really been constrained in Canada and across North America since the big floods that happened in October, early November. The dysfunction that those caused out in Vancouver to the entire North American supply chain was profound. So basically, east-west traffic got shut down. Trucking rates tripled. So if you were paying $3,000 for a truck, you would be paying $10,000. And so that meant an increase in price, a real shortage in trucks to move our fresh produce across North America, and a very clunky supply chain in general. Add COVID on top of that, and it's gotten a lot more complex.
Where would you say we're seeing some of the biggest challenges in that supply chain?
Well, initially it was at the ports. There's no question that the ports around the world, whether it was coming from Rotterdam in Europe or South Africa, New Zealand, Australia, all of those ports as you entered the east or west side of North America, it could take a month to get a ship unloaded. And so those containers ended up sitting there. And it was a very, very big problem for fresh produce, right from the growers all the way through distributors. So you needed to keep more packaging on hand, and you needed to make sure that you didn't have supplies that went bad literally on the boat. So that was the challenge initially. I think that's really transformed now to be more downstream, right at the retail level and wholesale, the processors in Canada, where it's just difficult to stock the shelves because there's not enough people to go out there, stock shelves, operate your warehouses, operate your processing facilities right here in Canada because of the COVID-19 virus.
This has been raised many times by the protesters in the convoy we've seen over the last number of days. From your perspective, what impact will cross-border vaccination mandates have?
Oh, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. The prices for freight have already increased since November. They haven't really gone down. Truckers are getting paid 3 times what they once got paid, and a lot of them, they should be focused on getting the food to people, and most of them are. Most of them are really putting their shoulder to the wheel and making sure that we have fresh fruits and vegetables or all kinds of different groceries in our stores, and they've done an amazing job. So I don't really see this. I see this convoy as a non-event.
Do you think people need to be concerned about the level of fresh food they're seeing on grocery store shelves?
Well, it's our supply chain is going to be clunkier than it ever has. We have a really nimble, robust supply chain in fresh produce. So when COVID first started, you didn't see shortages in the fresh produce section. We are really one of the best and most sophisticated supply chains out there. Now it's a little tougher when you see large portions of groups or people not being able to go to work and not be able to stock the grocery store shelves, not be able to be in a facility where a warehouse where the produce is being shipped out to the retail or a processing facility in Canada. There's been far more problems at that level, very close to the end of the supply chain, and that's what we really need to be concerned about right now.
How does this get resolved? When do we see things return to normal again?
Oh my goodness, I don't know what to say about that. We would wake up every morning as an executive team and try and figure out what was going to happen next and and put a plan in place. And by the end of the day, that plan was out the window and we were doing something else. So I think it's very difficult for policymakers, for people across the country, for everybody going through this terrible time of COVID. I hope it comes to an end soon, and we're just going to do the best that we can to make sure that store shelves are stocked as much as they can, that the fresh food is there for people, and that we just kind of get by this, and hopefully it's in our rearview mirror. But I can't tell you when that's going to happen.
Thanks so much for your time, David. Appreciate it.
Great to be with you.
David Karwacki is the CEO of Star Produce in Saskatoon.